Salvation is at the heart of Christianity, and belief is at the heart of salvation. Now, I know that for Christians, salvation is not reducible to belief. After all, the letter of James claims that even the demons believe in God, and yet presumably they're not going to be a part of the new creation. Salvation is perhaps more about this idea of repentance, turning to God, trusting in him, identifying with Christ in his death, and raising to a new life in his resurrection. So it's not just about belief, and yet belief is necessary for this. Even if belief is not the end goal, it's still a significant door that you have to walk through, or a threshold that you have to cross. After all, why would you trust in a God that you don't believe exists? And you see, belief is not something that we choose to do. It's something that we're compelled into. It's fairly involuntary. And I think there are a few ways that we arrive at our beliefs. Firstly, beliefs are a result of our upbringing and our community. A lot of things that we believe because of what our parents and our family believe, and because of the communities that we are a part of. This is especially true of religious faith. It seems impossible to deny that the majority, again, not all, but the majority of people who have a religious belief have so because it's the same one that their parents had. Now, they might arrive at an age where they claim it for themselves, but that's still within the context of a community which is reinforcing those beliefs and the family which instilled it in them in the first place. Beliefs can also arise out of evidence. When we're taught about the way the world works, and it is explained to us and justified in a satisfactory way, beliefs form around that. However, despite the attempt of apologetics, it appears that any arguments presented in favour of the Christian God are usually found to be lacking. Now, I'm not claiming that there are no arguments for Christianity, and I'm also not denying that some of them may have some credibility. But they're generally at the level where they will only serve to reinforce the belief of those who are already in the faith, or perhaps help nudge over those who are seeking to believe and maybe have some things that are holding them back. Now, the third way that we believe something is through experience. So even if we have quite firmly held convictions as a result of our upbringing, our community, and evidence that's been presented to us, if something happens to us, or if we experience something which seems to contradict this, it will throw a lot of things into question. Now, for those who are Christians not because of their upbringing, they are most likely to have come into the faith because of some kind of spiritual experience that they had. Now, the difficulty with this is, while such an event may be enough to convince someone who has the experience, it's unlikely to be as convincing or compelling to those who hear it secondhand. Similarly to apologetics, while hearing the testimonies of those who have come to faith through some kind of spiritual experience may help to reassure those who already believe, it's unlikely to compel a skeptic or someone who is outside of the faith into belief. Therefore, if someone is not brought up in a Christian family, and they're not part of a Christian community, and they don't find the evidence particularly compelling, then experience is the only chance that they have at belief. Which begs the question, if there is a God who desires to know each and every one of his creation, why has he not met with them in such a way that has made his presence known? And this is not only a matter of those who have never believed, but also for those who used to believe. Personally, I have been a Christian for most of my life, until recently. When I found good reasons to doubt the truth of the faith that I once held, it was the lack of any real personal experience which was a major factor which allowed my belief to fall away. Just as believing is not a choice, you also cannot choose to leave your beliefs behind. It's something that happens to you. Now, if you hold to a more reformed theology, this may not be a problem for you. After all, God has chosen and predestined his elect, and those who do not have an experience of God or those who do not believe are simply those whom God has not chosen. But if you hold to an open view of Christianity, where Jesus is available to all, you might rightly be concerned as to why God has remained hidden to so many people, when his intervention is the one thing that would be required to keep them from an undesirable fate.